Hello everyone, my name's Gavin Strange. Welcome to the stream. Happy whatever it is of Thursday. Hope you're all good, whatever it is of September or something or other. Hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you're all good. I am good, all things considered, with the craziness that's happening right now. So as always, this is going to be a nice positive hour of good stuff, positive stuff, nice stuff, fun stuff, hopefully creative stuff. So we're going to block out all of the nightmarish hellscape of the planet and just have a bit of fun for an hour. What have I got to tell you today? Yes, my very good friend Finbar Hawkins has written his very first book, and he is a creative director at Aardman. He is a wonderful human being, and this is his debut novel, Witch, which is out on the 1st of October. See what I did there? I pre-ordered this from Waterstones, and it arrived early. Stoked on that. So yes, it's a young adult novel. It's super good. Finney has been working really hard on this for a very, very long time. I'm very excited. I'm very proud. It's always, a huge amount of pride seeing people that you love doing great things. And also, look at that cover. Beautiful. I managed to wingle my way in there. I managed to take a little picture of Finney. That was my contribution of a lovely human being. So big ups Finbar. If you're into fantasy and fiction and you've got kids who would also be into this thing, then please do go and check out. He's a lovely Southwest based creator and an all-round good egg. So well done Finbar. Other than that, I've just been busy cracking on with a film commission that I've been working on during the day. Took some holiday time from Aardman this week as I'm in between projects before something else kicks off. I thought I'd be smart and get on with that. So that's really nice. Been doing that, busy doing that. What's going on in the chat? How are you, lovely lot? Anything fun, creative, and interesting going on with you, lovely people, or is it all again just descending into nightmarish chaos and everything's a little bit much? It's hard trying to stay motivated and trying to stay passionate and all of those good things, because we're all just dealing with just unprecedented times in many, many different things. So, Matt Roth, lovely Matt Roth, fellow streamer, fellow awesome creative. Matt Roth is in the chat and he says, all good, thanks, Gav. Just work on being work up and down. Yeah, work being work. Yeah. Just the ups and downs, of course, as everything's changing on a daily basis as well. So hopefully you're all feeling good and positive and just, just gotta keep on keeping on, haven't we? A Knight's Temper says currently storyboarding for a pasta sauce company. Nice, I like it very much. And Torda Fraz has been looking at Cyberpunk 2077 artwork. Amazing. Yeah, I'm really intrigued as to Cyberpunk 2077. It just looks stunning. I think it's a game that's just going to be far too big for me personally to get stuck into. But I think I'll probably get it regardless. I'm awful at that. I buy games that are just so long. It took me a year to complete Zelda Breath of the Wild. It took me over a year to complete Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm just so slow. I just don't have the time to play them, but I love them. I love games. I love the escapism. I love the ingenuity. Oh, I am Cinzia. I've probably mashed up that username, but thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the chat. I hope you're good. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, so I'm really, really excited about Cyberpunk 2077. It just looks beautiful, looks staggering. Got Keanu Reeves in it. What more do you want from a video game? So I'm probably going to pick that up. Talking of Finbar, I managed to, we've been geeking out on PS5 stuff as well, so really excited to get my hands on that next month, no, November. And I'm hoping if it arrives on day one, I might do, the stream as maybe a bit of an unboxing / let's figure it all out together sort of thing. So I'm going to be really excited to do that. So if it comes in time, then maybe we could do that. That could be fun. Known Origin is in the chat. Hello, David. Big ups, Known Origin. I've been working with Known Origin the past few weeks. Old friends, of course, and I've just been advancing in the world of crypto art and really enjoying that process as well, making digitally verified artwork and stuff. So that's super fun. Did my 3rd drop this week, so it's just nice being in that space. So hello, Known Origin, and Josh is here. Nice. Everyone's busy. Josh says he's doing a fun project with my mate. We're making an intro for our D&D game like an 80s cartoon. Yes, nice. That sounds great. Keep us posted on that. That sounds great fun. Right then, let's get stuck into what we're going to be talking about today. So it's a project that I absolutely loved. It was an ident that I had the pleasure of directing for BBC2. And I'll talk more about the specifics in a minute, but it was such a fun project. It was not without its ups and downs, trying to manipulate stuff that does not want to be manipulated, like slimy, smashy, sticky slime. But we'll get into the problems. But it was such a great creative process, working with an amazing crew at Aardman and with an amazing team at Super Union, which were the agency who were the creators behind it, and then within the BBC2 creative team as well. So it was this mad collab. But so yeah, that's what I want to talk to everyone about today. It's just sharing a bit of the creative process of the ident that we lovingly refer to as Squish. So what it was, you know, BBC in the UK is long had very famous idents, and they previously were the number 2 cutout in so many different styles and ways and techniques, and they were just well known. They'd been running for such a long time. It then became time for them to rebrand and to update. And Super Union were the creative agency that had the honour of coming up with this and creating, inventing it. And what you're seeing on screen now is a selection of some of the idents that are created, and they're absolutely stunning. There was a real technical system behind all of this, because these idents would wipe on and off screen before and at the end of different trailers, different adverts. It would be the transition point between any different TV program. So they had to work very specifically. There were dedicated frame numbers that the design, the thing, had to transition onto the screen. It had to fully envelop the screen and then get off camera in the same amount of frames. There was specific frame numbers. So that was something that absolutely had to be had to be adhered to. But each ident then had to be split up into about 6 different versions that had to work for different lengths. So what you had to supply and what the final brief was essentially one film that had to be cut up into 6 different bits. But it wasn't just you took 6 slices from it. Some sections overlapped other sections. So it had to be seamless. It kind of had to be loopable in different parts. It was a complex sort of set of deliverables that you had to get. So that brought its own complications, which we're talking about in a bit. But you know, the ones that they were already working on when we joined the project as Aardman, look at them. They're gorgeous. They're such different styles. They're such different techniques, but they're all stunning. All these different idents were because obviously the what BBC2 puts out is a huge variety of programming, all sorts of different stuff. So it was important that all the different sort of styles and tones of the programs that were being made would have more than one ident that could be used and reflected depending on you know the purpose. And also these idents would then hard cut between each other as well, because they all had to follow the same frame system. You know, at any point you could hard cut from one style to another style because you were transitioning from a comedy to a drama, for example. So it was a real complex system to adhere to. And before I jump in, I'm just going to jump into the chat. Known Origin says, an amazing series of idents. I had the pleasure of seeing this in 4K with awesome audio. Oh, amazing. Yeah, the audio as well by an incredible composer called Alex Baranowski. Apologies, Alex, if I've totally butchered your name. He did all the sound for all of them, and it's just gorgeous, really, really gorgeous sound design for all of these. But they're all mesmerizing as well. Most of these are all CG, as you've seen. They're all very, very high-end, very beautiful CG. There's a great company called Future Deluxe that did a lot of beautiful ones. And they're gorgeous. But when Aardman started getting involved, it was sort of we wanted to to make something that was in camera, that was physical, that was sort of that was tactile, which sort of took it down its own route. So it was really cool to see this from the beginning, to know that we're going to be a part of this world. So I kind of wanted to share a little bit of behind the scenes of the treatment as well. For every directorial job or any film job, you write a treatment to set out your vision, to set out what you would love to do, what you are proposing back to the creative teams as a director, of what you would love to do and how that fits in within what they want to do. I love building treatments. It's really fun. It's a great way to I guess sort of show your personality as much as it's about the idea as well. It's a chance for you to show your passion and to show your energy and to show what you want to do. And I love that. I love using graphic design to do that, to make something that is hopefully enticing and exciting and sells a dream. So these were a few frames from my original treatment, and the treatments were intentionally quite small and quite slim because they had, Super Union and BBC2 had a lot to contend with. So lots and lots of people pitched different ideas, so it was about trying to keep it concise. So my sort of wrap up, my summary was: inspired by one of your original mood images, I wanted to see a squishy and squashy texture form the curve of the two with sheer force in camera. 2 blocks, one either side of the camera, are solid sandwich layers of slime / Play-Doh / plasticine. When pushed into the middle of the frame with a lot of speed and force, they reveal the two as the organic material bends around the 2-part custom-built chamber that makes up the curve of the two. This will be filmed as live action on a high-speed camera, ramping into slow-mo once the material starts to bend and distort to reveal the two. The 2 chambers will contain contrasting colours to make sure the middle shape is revealed clearly. So this is a thing, and I didn't clearly state that here, that of course what you can see here is the intersection of the two. It's a cropped section of the two. So these whatever it is, the things would come in and wipe to reveal a two on a certain frame, and then they would wipe off to reveal the program underneath. So everything had to precisely match this curve, and that was obviously deadly important because we were match cutting. So when the idents would jump from comedy to drama and the hard cut would happen, the two has to be in the same place every time, because otherwise it's going to go all over the shop. So that was another one of the parameters. So that was it about getting basically squishing this real organic material together to form the two, and creating a chamber as such that so when you pushed it, the sort of sheer force would bend it into the shape of the two. And these were some just very low res, quick mock-ups that were part of the treatment, of showing that we would have this colourful stuff, and as to what that stuff would be, that would be determined by a huge bunch of R&D, because this is the great thing. It is you don't really know where you're going to go and how it's going to look until you start playing. You have to start playing. So it was a very experimental process through all of this, and this was just some mock-ups and just some reference for mood images. Funnily enough, this was 2, maybe 3 years ago now, and this was when all kids were playing with slime. If you've got kids, I'm sure you remember this period. So slime was all over the place, and so that was a big draw, because you can get really gorgeous colours with that sort of stuff, and also kind of the work of the slow-mo guys, when you see real organic sort of fluids and materials be pushed and squashed and manipulated through those different things. So these were just a few mood images of kind of where we could go with it, again, just to get people excited and to get me excited as well. This was such a super fun project. So basically R&D began. Let me have a swig of my tea. You can have a look at these lovely images. I'll take a swig. And this was basically testing and playing with materials. Like I said, okay, we got the green light to go ahead, which was super exciting and super, just super fun. Get to create a BBC2 ident. Wow, that's a really iconic thing, and I was so proud that I got to direct, which was just really, really exciting. And so yeah, basically I headed into the studio armed with just a bunch of different materials, and we just went shopping. We went to art stores, craft stores, toy stores, any kind of store really, to see what we could find. We tried plasticine, we tried Play-Doh, we tried making our own slime, we tried buying slime, all sorts of different things, and each had their own lovely properties. Top right for me, the pink and the gold, that is because I'm obsessed with gold, and I love that you could really blend these colours together. But they only look that beautiful for about 5 minutes. As soon as you start manipulating them, it just turns into a mush. Some were glossier than others. Some had little gold little bits in there. That was super cool. That caught the light really nicely. You know, there's all these different things, but how they looked was one thing, and how they behaved and how they moved was another. So we started just sort of developing things further, and just sort of basically discounting things as we went, trying different aspects, trying different colours, trying different materials. We knew that we were going to use slime. That kind of came out quite early, that slime was kind of ideal, like as in slime, the sort of slime that the kids down with the kids, that the kids would, I've said it again, stop saying it, kids, children, anyone plays with slime. There's a certain sort of you can manipulate it in a certain way, and it had a certain weight, because the whole thing was about us pushing these things together. It needed weight behind it, so it would smash together. It would, you know, it would be squished, and it would force and create that too. You know, it had to have weight and momentum behind it. And so we decided, after all of that R&D, okay, slime is the way to go. And then we started trying to make slime. I made my own slime. It was absolutely terrible. I don't think I was doing it right. There's all these different recipes. There's about 1 million different YouTube tutorials of how people make slime, and they were just all a bit sloppy, and it just didn't really work. And we discovered that the best slime that you could get was actually off the shelf tubs of slime from The Works. And if you know The Works, the store in England that basically sells all sorts of nonsense, it just worked out that their own brand slime was the one for us, and so that was it. We eventually we sold out all of Bristol's workshops of all of their slime. We bought everything that we could have. We even had them on speed dial so we could call them again as soon as new stuff came in, because we needed more. We needed so much of the stuff. And then, as this whole process was a back and forth process with Super Union, the creative agency, with an awesome creator called Catherine, going back and forth, because, you know, we were one small cog of this huge campaign that they were building, with all of these different collaborators who are all making, you know, everything's fit to the system, but everything's all different as well. There's rigid body dynamics, there's soft body dynamics, there's particle simulations, there's traditional animation, you know, there's all sorts of different styles. So they were wrangling all of these different people, and we were one of them. So we had constant sort of check-in points to show what we were doing, and we were just seeing how far we could push it as well. We wanted, you know, there was discussions back and forth, should it have character, should it not? So we were trying eyeballs, we were trying things without eyeballs. We actually went and bought loads of just trinkets and bits, and kind of thought that it kind of should look quite childlike and childish, that, you know, as you would be when you were a kid. You just, all of your stuff, you know, your Play-Doh gets all those mushy colours, and you get your toys stuck in it, and it's just loads of different bits and bobs just, you know, sort of mashed together. That was an idea at one point that we were trying, that I thought looked awesome, but it just became quite visually complex quite quickly, and it all sort of just flew out as soon as you started smashing it together. Just these bits started flinging everywhere, which looked cool, but it was so hard to see what was going on. Matt Roth in the chat says, the amount of kids you made cry for clearing out the slime from the shops. Oh man, absolutely. I remember, I think in the first week when I was in the studio, I had a little animation unit to myself, just trying out, just doing R&D to begin with, trying all these different slides. And a friend was showing their kids around the studio, and they came into the studio where I was, and my friend says, oh, this is Gavin. What's he doing? He's playing with slime. Says, yeah, no, this is my job. Yeah, this is a brand new exciting project. And the little boy's face was just, he thought it was the best thing ever. I think I might have given him false hope that this was my job all the time. I mean, it was for a great period of time, but not my entire job throughout my entire career. But that blew his tiny mind. Sort of Fraz says, the teeth in the pink slime looks weird. Yeah, it got quite body horror quite quickly. It looks cool, especially that big glossy eye, but yeah, it got quite terrifying. And as much as I adore Akira and want to bring references to that into every single thing I've ever done ever, it wasn't right for this. You felt quite grotesque, so we scrapped that. We decided not to do that. the best part of all of this is they're in the Aardman model making workshop, which is just a dream factory. It's just such a great place to go in and see what's going on and to be a part of. They've just got rows and rows and racks of all different materials of all different types. It is like a dream. They've just got this huge drawer that just says eyes, and it was great. I've always wanted to dig into the eyes drawer and just to see what I can find, and so we just went raiding it to see what we can find, and that's how we found molds of teeth and different eyeballs, just to test, just to try, just to see what we could find. So so much fun doing that. And so we started test shooting. That was the best way to do it, was to get the slime. We'd narrowed it down to that slime, and to start experimenting and playing and seeing how it goes before we could shoot. I'll come to exactly how we shot it in a minute, but we got a firm to build a Perspex 2, a perfect. We gave them a laser spec, sort of CAD spec drawing, so that 2 has to be absolutely perfect. Because this wasn't on a computer, this wasn't in Cinema 4D or anything like that. We had to make sure it was millimeter perfect, so it would match with everything else that was done in camera. And this is kind of where it started getting more and more complicated, because it's all, the 2, it came back and it was absolutely perfect, and that was wonderful. But how lenses work, how different pieces of glass and different types of framing work, they will distort the image naturally. That's just how your eyes work. It's just how camera lenses work, these curved pieces of glass. So it was, it was every single step was you were having to sort of cross-reference and backtrack and double check that and when you add a new ingredient, a new element, it doesn't change things, and that was kind of the complications get more and more. Oh, Steffi is here in the chat. Hey, Steffi. Aaron is here in the chat. Hello, everyone. I'm just talking about the joys of making work and experimenting with slime for an awesome ident for BBC2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of the R&D process, so you can sort of see these were the sorts of things that I was shooting on my phone. So we knew that we were going to shoot high speed. And the reason being, because this wasn't Cinema 4D, this wasn't Houdini. Okay, if we don't have full control over the slime, over how it manipulates, but we need it to be, we need to have control over it. Well, how about we control the amount of frames? And so, by shooting high speed, by shooting 1,000 frames a second, we've got more manipulation of those frames because we've just got so many to play with. So, that was the thinking for just controlling it, but also it would look lovely for doing speed ramps from real time to, and then speed ramping in and out. That was the system and the idea behind that. But for my testing, I just shot everything on my iPhone. I just shot it using because that was 240 frames a second on the iPhone, and that was more than enough. I could then really slow it down to 1,000 if I wanted to, but it was a really good way to sort of do all this R&D and testing before we brought in the camera, the beast of a camera. But let me show you some of my R&D stuff that I would put together to share with Super Union and BBC2 to show the progress of where we were going. It was super fun putting that together as well and making that. So that would happen quite a lot throughout production. Just as we would develop things further, I would shoot all of these different test movies just to sort of show workings out. I guess it's like being back at school. Show your workings out. Show how you got to that process. So it was really, really fun. And Aaron in the chat says 2 prawn cocktail. Yeah, that was my that was my favourite comment. It was gross as well. It was just gross. That was I think that was the one that I made myself and just thought, this is awful. This is so horrible. But the ones that you could see at the start there were the bought canisters of slime from the works, and they just had that like energy to them. As soon as you started pushing them and moving them, they would squash and stretch, and they would get they just had the movement and the momentum that we needed to be able to, fully push all of this in frame. So it covers the whole underneath and then pulls back. So then it was like, right, okay, let's do the shoot then. We're ready. We had this gorgeous purpose-built 2 that was our chamber. So we would have the different sides left and right of the different types of slime. So we could, when they combined together, they would make the 2, and we would shoot that top down. And this is Adam Cook. He's an awesome friend and he's an awesome colleague at Aardman. He's a brilliant photographer, camera operator. He does everything. Him and Nat run the studio at Gasferry Road, and they are geniuses, and they're always excited to make things come to life, and it's always super fun working with them. And so we built this rig, this hell of a rig, that basically we have the 2 at the bottom where we will put the slime, and then we have the camera at the top. And the camera was something I've always wanted to shoot on. It was a Phantom VO, and the Phantom cameras are awesome. They do super high frame rates, up to 1,000 frames a second, which again we needed because we needed to control those frames. We wanted it to control the speed ramp. And also, just again, one of the big joys I love working at Aardman is just that their things, their toys. We've got our own custom glass, which is gorgeous, and this 1.3 25mm is just a beauty. Just the fact it's got its own name stamped on the focus ring is lush. Just really nice. I just love the design. I love the design of lenses. They're super nice. So it was really cool having being able to play and make with this. So this rig then basically had the tray at the bottom, and we could only shoot one side at a time because we were using gravity to basically push and roll the slime in so it would hit the edge of the 2 curve. You physically can't do both at the same time. You can't do a rig that both things come down and meet in the middle, because that would obscure the 2. It wouldn't work. So we decided that we would shoot each side individually, and then we would composite them together later with our VFX team. But that basically meant that we built this rig that was sort of on a seesaw basically. So all of this rigging held the camera, held everything else, and it let us tip up and tilt down to get the gravity to roll the slime into the frame, and then we could tip it back and get it back out again. So it was this, and it was heavy, but we as a team we would push it up and push it down. In the chat, Tour de France says, how much light did you need to film with the Phantom? A lot, an awful lot. I think in the end we shot at 500 frames a second because we just simply didn't need to go to 1,000. It didn't need to be, 1,000 frames a second is 40 times slower than normal speed, and we just didn't need to go that slow because we had our times of we needed to come in for X amount of frames and then out again, to be compatible with the system for BBC2. We didn't need that much, but I still think we were probably having 10,000 or so watts worth of light. But these are all LED panels now. We've got massive sort of 5-10K lights in the studio that we use, but these are so much more energy efficient and so much more maneuverable as well because they're much smaller panels. They kick out so much light, but yeah, they're a lot more eco-friendly as well, which is great. So yeah, we use this lush camera. And we built this rig basically that we had in the studio, and you can see all of our cans of slime there on the right. And then we hit a massive snag, And this is just one of those things where, because this is all R&D, and you don't know until shoot day. We've done all the tests, we've done everything like that. Every step of the way was right, and we continued. But when it came to filling the 2 tank and with everything in place, it was a nightmare. It didn't fill the tank properly. It has to fill the tank. It has to fill frame so we can use it as an ident. It has to wipe screen. It didn't do that. When we pushed it, it wouldn't roll quick enough. We couldn't get it to a high enough angle for it to roll down. We tried dropping it from the ceiling, which you see Nat here on the left with the bucket. And that did work. When you dropped it, it fell with such energy and such force that it absolutely sort of smashed out and like really filled the frame. So we had a solution there, and it was looking awesome. But that wasn't what we proposed. That wasn't what we said that we could do. And here is how it ended up looking. And these were the results of our first shoot day. We shared them with Super Union BBC2, and full credit to them. They were just, this isn't what you said you would do. And obviously, because everyone's following to a system, but we can't re-render. This is in camera. This is how the gravity was treating it. This was what we could do. It was a real harsh learning curve, and it was a really scary time in the middle when we got to this stage. And and full credit again to BBC2 and Super Union for, we all just took a minute and decided to try it again. But this time we would approach it in a different way. And for me as a director, it was horrible. When something isn't how you propose, you feel terrible. You absolutely feel terrible, especially because it's such an exciting project. It was so much fun, and just wanted to do an incredible job to sit alongside these other people. And that's just the nature of it. It was all in camera. It was all for real. It was all until you're using that amount of slime in that space and trying to push it in that time. All of these different factors came together to create something that no one wanted. We didn't want it to be like that. So we took a step back. We had a really great regroup, and then made a plan for learning by the mistakes of all of this. And like all these things though, you look back on anything like that, the things that happen that make you swallow the lump in your throat, and you're like, damn. And you just feel bad. You feel bad that things didn't work out right. You of course, I'm responsible. So you feel that, you just feel that those, guilty feelings, and you feel it with a heavy heart. But I think it's really important to go through those things, because then I think it's a test of character, and it shows what kind of a person you are. To, okay, well, how am I going to go forwards though? How am I going to fix this? How am I going to get back BBC2 and Super Union on side and build that trust again, and these really important lessons to learn. And they hurt and they suck, and you wish you didn't have to do it in the first place, but they do, and that's up to you. That's how you go forward. And again, massive credit to everyone that was so kind and welcoming, and we went forward to work it out together. So we totally reconfigured how we were going to do it. We knew that basically it wasn't working for us to sort of tip up the size and to use gravity, because it just didn't work. It just wasn't doing what we needed to do. We could only get it to fill frame by dropping it and letting it smash in, and that was just a bit too violent. It kind of just wasn't the original plan. So we had to go back to the drawing board. And Steffi in the chat says, failures are the pathway to success though. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And of course it's always scary when your client is not pleased with what you've created, but it's about a dialogue, isn't it? It's about a dialogue for how we redo this and how we make it better. And it was great. We just all got together and figured it out together, and it was like this great assembled team of people being honest and just making work. It was really, really good. It was a real, I've got fond memories of that time of working it out. And Steph, who was our brilliant producer, she was brilliant at just wrangling all of this. And so but it was always a risk of doing it for real in camera, using gravity, using physics, kind of that was how it was going to be. but you know, you gotta move on, and so we did. We rebuilt our system, and this is how we do it. This is a totally different approach. And so what you see here is you see the Phantom is mounted top down again, and we've got Egg here, who's a camera assistant and camera operator for the Phantom. And the way a Phantom works is weird. You don't, because it records so quickly, you don't press record to go. You don't go, okay, I'm going to film now, ready, go. The Phantom is always recording, and the reason it's always recording because a lot of high-speed cameras came from the world of sort of nature cinematography. So if you're waiting for a whale to breach out of the ocean, you might miss it because your reflexes might not be quick enough to get that beautiful rumble as they sort of finally leave the water. But if the camera's always running, when you do press a button, that basically goes back in time and records X amount of seconds before and until the end. It's a sort of a foolproof way for you to get what you know you need to get, which is amazing. It still kind of blows my mind that you record in the past. But yeah, it's basically always recording onto its own memory over and over. And once it fills its memory, it loops over itself continuously. So you have the trigger button to basically sort of mark out, okay, go back in time 5 seconds, start it there and keep it running until it runs out. And then you then have to decide, once you've then got the footage, you decide whether to keep it or not. Because you're shooting, you know, if you're shooting 1,000 frames a second and it's all uncompressed HD or 4K, you know, those files are massive, and you can't just keep loading up clips and clips on the hard drive. You can, but you need even bigger kit. You know, so you have to make a decision, was that take right? So you have to review every take to check it is working right. So we had that at the top, so that's what Egg's doing. And then we've got this different system. Our brilliant model making team, NT, built this awesome system, this slide system that basically sort of was like a push and a pull. So we go push, pull, and because it had so much the slime had sort of so much energy behind it, when you do get a push, it would fall over itself, but you could pull it back to whip it back out of frame. And so you can see the monitor in review here, bottom right, you can see the 2 plastic curve just in the middle, but the 2 curve was actually by a tiny millimeter raised just above underneath the sliding background to allow the thing to pass underneath it. And it was still really, really tricky. And I have to sort of dress the slime every single take. I have to sort of loosen it up a bit and sort of peel it back off we had special stuff on the bottom that would let it not stick as much, but just because of the nature of the slime, you can see there it would tear and it would pull and it would get caught. And so you basically just do take after take after take and get the best ones. But it was such a more manageable process because you would just have to, yeah, you check it and we'd know straight away if it caught like that. If you know, the whole thing is it had to go in, cover the side up to the tube, and then it had to pull back, and it had to pull back cleanly. So we had to do that, and it was just, yeah, take after take after take after take. And so me and Egg are just chatting away, just going through it. Known Origin in the chat says, this is crazy, pure dedication. Oh, it was, you know, it was exciting though, David. It was so you know, it's like, yes, this is the way, this is going to do it. We're going to get there. You know, it was a challenge of having it go wrong in the beginning, and then, you know, yes, this is going to work, because once we then reviewed it on the monitor and you'd see it, and when it slowed down and it would whip back out, it was great. And in our first version, the lighting was too glossy, it was too harsh as well. So we had this huge big softbox right above the top that basically just sat above the entire thing. And then you've got two, what are they 10Ks in there back there, I think, can't really remember, 2 big 10Ks sort of bouncing off the top as well. And then we've got this big LED panel at the side as well. Yeah, Arri lights in use. Yeah, Arri lights are awesome. It was lovely. It was lovely doing this. And then there's another thing that I'm doing here is we decided that we wanted character. I thought it'd be really fun to have, you know, it be brought to life with character. The slime itself should be alive. And so once I've got everything ready and all the slime is ready, I then place two googly eyes in the right place in the slime, and they have to be in the right place, because if they're too far over, they sometimes got trapped in the 2 curve and got ripped out. If they're too far back, they don't make it into frame. And then here I'm just manipulating the magic arm. Manfrotto Magic Arms are an absolute godsend. If you want something to just basically be used for anything, camera tripods, holding things in place, Manfrotto Magic Arms are literally magic. I've got one right now holding up this camera here, this stream camera, connected to something else, because they're awesome. They're so useful. But that was keeping the tension. That Magic Arm was keeping the tension of the 2 in the right place, to make sure we got it. And then lastly, the whole reason that the bottom of that base is blue is because it was all blue screen. Obviously can't use green screen because the slime is green. We would then composite the 2 sides together. So we would go through all of the process, get all of the takes on the right hand side of the slime, which I'm doing here, and then when that was right, we would then put it in the left hand side as well to get it. But yeah, it was great. It was such a fun fun day. We had Kath from Super Union come down when we were getting ready to shoot, and just, we were going through everything and making the plan together as well. So, that collaboration was great. And it just, you can see it there. You can see, that works. That came. Sometimes you get those little bits, comes in, comes out, and then so sometimes you would get 3 or 4 passes that you would use, because as long as it comes in and comes out of frame, that single take had 3 passes in it. But then sometimes you get it all tears, and you have to do your slime wrangling. So the reason the eyes were in there, they were there because that's exactly where we wanted them to be. But we then used a bit of movie magic, and what we did on green screen, this is Enti, our head model maker, who I adore. Enti, he's just the best. And he built this system. He took apart some big googly eyes and replaced the pupils with magnetic paper, black magnetic paper. And then what he's got here, he's just got a tiny little rod that he's built, like a kebab skewer, and then it's got a tiny magnet on the underside of it. So he's basically puppeteering the eyeball with just a tiny little magnet. So we shot all this on green screen. We shot all these different sort of takes of the eyes looking in different ways, and then we would then composite the moving eyeball on top of, like, the actual pupil moving on top of the slime version that we had in the footage. And so that meant that the eyeballs would come to life as they're moving, and it was great. We actually tried puppeteering the eyes at the same time as we were pushing the slime in and out in slow motion, and it was sort of possible. It did work, but Enti had to sort of move with it underneath the table and move back as I was pushing it in and out. And because we were ramping up and down from 500 to 1,000 frames a second to real time, the eyeballs, you just didn't get, they weren't alive, because they would then go so slow, they didn't move enough. And so actually, after sort of doing more tests, we decided to then use sort of composite of both of them. But I remember this was one of the last things that we did on the shoot, just going into the studio and working with Enti and the team to puppeteer magnetic googly eyes to put on our slime. It was so good. It was so much fun to have that at every single step of the way, But I showed the behind the scenes movie at the beginning of the stream. But for people who haven't seen it, who missed the start, I thought it's worth showing it again. Now you've got a little bit of context as to everything we went through and all the different parts of the process. I thought it might be fun to watch that again. Let's have a little look-see. There we go. Super fun. Super fun. There's, you know, I love all that experimentation and those tests and everything that went with it. So now I'm going to show you the actual finished ident. This is how it looked. They have an awesome sound by Alex Baranowski. Really fun. Just gorgeous. And so this was the two different sides merged together, blended together using compositing with the eyeballs over the top. And this is a full version that was then cut up into the 6 different versions that the ident would see, that how it will be used. Oh, Rogero, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you're good. It was lovely, and you know, we had these naturally occurring creases in the slime that we in comp we highlighted as well, because they look like mouths. It was really good fun to have that there. So yeah, we highlighted that so it looks like they've got these fun little grins. And so these were the speed ramps in and out. Really fun. It's so lovely. And here is a bit of an example as to how it looked when you saw it in context of a TV show.
He's a real high flyer.
He's all, I've got a great career, 5 kids, and I'm right, you laugh. You know, something's not right there.
I thought we all agreed as feminists that nowadays it's unfeminist to have it all.
I've got to work, bake the soda bread, make myself look nice for Jill.
I'm literally going to see to hear people.
Oh no, you look great.
Oh God, where's the baby?
Motherland is back
Oh no, sorry, stop nursery.
on BBC2.
There we go. It was great seeing that. I watched Motherland and it's super funny. So it's really cool seeing it. And sometimes I've never seen this on TV. I've never seen my own ident. My parents have loads. They text me all the time saying, "Oh, we just saw your ident in front of so and so." Never seen it. Never managed to catch it, unfortunately. But it's really cool seeing it out there. And the original category that Aardman got involved in was the silly category, which was sort of comedy and maybe sort of kids TV and stuff. But I think as the idents have evolved, they're used for many different types of things, and I think we are used for a bit more varied stuff now. And so, yeah, maybe one day I'll get to see it actually live for real somewhere. But yeah, so that's the story of the BBC2 Squish ident. It was such a pleasure. It was such a joy to be a part of, and you know. Oh, RTP, thank you so much for the kind words. This is fascinating. Loving this talk. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for stopping by. I'm going to jump over to the other camera now. Yeah, so massive thank you to Aardman, of course, and Super Union and BBC2. You know, like I say, it was a bonkers process. It started with so much fun in the R&D thing, and the fact we got to make a fun, slimy, squishy ident for them was great. It's really nice to be a part of that part of that history, and they've continued. BBC2 has continued to make more new idents as well, and they're gorgeous. If you can find them online, they're lush. They're continuing to do new ones all the time for different themes, and you know, they're really beautiful. Some CG ones are just gorgeous. I'm pretty sure it's Future Deluxe. I hope I'm not wrong in saying that. Future Deluxe, who do beautiful, brilliant work, has done loads. So yeah, so that's I think that's it from me. It was super fun to share this with you, and thank you as always for people tuning in, for giving up your lunchtime. I hope you are well. Thank you to everyone for the follows. That's very, very kind of you. I'll hopefully be back streaming next Tuesday. Something creative, hopefully something inspirational, hopefully something uplifting. If you know, I think we all need this more than ever. So yeah, I'll hopefully try and bring some positive vibes next week as well. Tuesdays and Thursdays is normally on a lunchtime when I stream. Thank you very much. I hope you have a cracking weekend. Take care of yourselves, be safe and all that jazz, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks then. Bye bye.